Oh hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is a fun video because I finally get to rant about Animal Crossing. Now don't get me wrong, Animal Crossing has saved me a lot during this quarantine. But there are some things I need to get off my chest. And if you're here, that's because you're obsessed with Animal Crossing too and you want to rant about it as well. And you know, look, I'm sure there's lots of other people we could be talking to who are also playing Animal Crossing. It's a very popular game. But we don't want to be those people who are complaining about a fictional world that we get to play on our fancy devices while there's a virus happening. So let's do it on the internet, okay? Where no one judges you and everyone is nice to each other. Yeah, well, even if that's not true, I'm gonna do it anyway. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe because I put out new videos all the time and it helps me a whole bunch. Now, let's get to the action. Today, I knocked my charger down. So if that's not a metaphor for how things are going, I don't know what is. I have a list because I'm an adult and it gives me some semblance of order in these crazy times. Today, I am going to give you the top 5 things that bother me about Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've even numbered them. Who is she? Maybe there's a bonus tip at the end. I don't know. You'll have to stay to find out. Number 5. The prices. Now look, it started out simple enough. I got a tent, pay a little coin, 5,000 miles. Nope, that doesn't sound so bad. I can do that, or 500 miles, I don't know. Basically, it wasn't too bad, it was doable. I was like, you know what, this works. I catch some fish, I shake some trees, I get money, I pay off my debt. It feels good, you feel accomplished. I get a house, moves up a little, sure, 98,000, again, doable. I'm okay with that. Then we get into the expansion. Little pricier here. While you're getting the expansion, you can look at the prices for the other things if you want to, or you can Google it like I did. And you know you've been Googling things too, like how much different insects are cost, how much different fish are when you catch them, just so you know whether or not to get excited with your latest catch of the day. And I saw how much these expansions are going to be. I just recently added a room onto my house. It was 398,000 bells. For comparison, the average fish you're gonna catch is like 400 bells. Now look, I'm a big fishing girl on the game. I find it very relaxing. I feel very jazzed when I catch a fish after pressing A few times, and I like it. But when you have this big debt over it, you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this, but we're gonna sell some fossils and see what happens. But that's just in general. It's very expensive to do things in the game, which is kind of annoying. But it also gives you that sense of accomplishment when you finally pay it off, because you're like, I worked really hard for this. If you didn't sell turnips or do a tarantula harvesting thing, which, oh, I'll be talking about those soon. But it gives you a sense of accomplishment. So it's a two-edged sword. And also, I feel like I have to mention that the bridges are insanely expensive. When I talked to Tom Nook about the infrastructure, because I go to talk to him, he's like, oh, want to talk about infrastructure? I'm like, sure. I want to add a bridge or a little hill up so I don't have to get my little pole out every time I need to go across the river for something. And it's freaking like, I think the cheapest one was like 100,000 bells for a bridge, and like some are like 300,000, some are 500,000 if you want anything other than just some freaking logs over water. What are we doing? Next, catching wasps. So as we all know, when we're shaking those trees or when we're cutting down with axes, sometimes you run into the wasp. I used to just think this was something to avoid and I would get scared and try to run away from it. That doesn't work. Then I learned I could have my net out to try to catch it. And then I was like, oh, that's a cool little thing, why not? The game changer, there's a spider up there. The game changer was when I found out that a wasp is 2,500 bells. So now I actually actively will shake the trees around the island every day to see if some furniture will fall out, some coins, or if I'll catch a wasp, because then I get 2,500 bells. Well, you're saying, Lauren, that sounds like a good thing. Why are you complaining about it? Well, because sometimes when you shake the tree and you get your little net ready to catch the wasp, you try to move your little freaking dude or woman or what have you to catch it, but even though you're looking at it with the net goes in some other freaking minuscule angle away from where the wasp is, and then you get stunned. Even if you had your net ready, you couldn't get around the tree trunk, or just those little movements. It happens when you try to shovel things too. You go swish, swish, swish into the water. Speaking of tools, I didn't laugh at that, I'm not 5 years old. Speaking of tools, the fact of the matter about how often they break. Now look, I understand that I can make a stronger shovel or an axe made of gold, but the problem is that those eventually break too. So I'm using all these valuable resources like iron nuggets and stuff to make a tool that's eventually gonna break anyway. And I remember in GameCube when your things didn't break, you just kept them. And I'm sorry, but for this one, I don't feel a sense of accomplishment when I've like broken a tool and have to make another one, even though I get those Nook miles every time I break one. I just get annoyed that I have to go back and build another tool or buy one. And I always build because I can't spend the money, whereas my fiance will always buy them, and it like Gryffindor versus Slytherin, like very different ideologies. But it's just one of those things where you get so frustrated about it. And I don't like that I have to keep making new tools every 10 fish or every 10 bugs. It's really frustrating, and I just needed to talk about it because it's been bothering me. Although, life hack, if you don't want to spend a lot of money, just make like 3 of the flimsy axes or nets at once, and then it's like having a better tool but without having to use iron nuggets. So, boom, pro tip. Okay, now we're gonna get to the so-called tips or hacks for this game that people say to get a lot of bells. Number 2, turnips. I don't like the turnip sales. I don't understand them. Today my fiance was all jazzed because he was gonna find this new turnip hack where you get some turnips, then you go on Discord and you talk to people and they tell you who's selling at what island and who has the highest prices for turnips. Sure, fine. That ended up not working as turnips ended up being bad, even though it was not a week that it took and it was a whole thing. But keep all that out. Say you actually can go to another island and sell these turnips. Why would they create something where you can buy this item for like 110 bells from this, I think she's like a pig? I don't remember. This little like creature. And then when you try to sell them at your shop, they're like 45 bells. They want people to go to other people's islands? Sure, let's say that they do. That doesn't make sense. Why would you want someone to use a third party like Discord or whatever website to go onto other people's islands? Like, it doesn't, there should be an easier way to utilize turnips or a way that doesn't create all this fuss. Like, the whole thing is just a scam to me, and I don't care for it. And number 1, the one that affected yours truly today. While my fiance was watching that little video about the turnips, we then watched this one about finding tarantulas when you go on a Nook Miles ticket to one of his islands. I guess he has just a bunch of islands or whatever. There's supposed to be a hack where you go and you have to cut down every tree and then dig out every stump and pull out every flower and get rid of all the creatures on this island anywhere that any insect could spawn. Then the theory is that you can catch all of the tarantulas that show up if you build this little like trap full of holes and then you catch it, whatever. First time, I'll admit, was my bad. I got to this island, I used my ticket, I did every single thing. I cut down every tree, dug out all the stumps, got rid of all the flowers, all that jazz, broke all the rocks. No tarantulas to be seen. I must have been on the island for like an hour and a half. Granted, it was my fault because after all that time, I realized it wasn't after 7 p.m. and the tarantulas only spawn after 7 p.m. Okay, that's my bad. That's not the game's fault, that's me. So I did a little time hopping and I advanced it to like 8:30. I got a different ticket onto a different island after I did all this work because you can't stay on the same island when you time hop. You have to close off the software. Again, it's cheating, so I shouldn't feel bad about it. Anyway, I do it again, 8:30, get on a freaking 3-tier level freaking island, which made it worse because I had to climb up on my ladder every 3 tiers. Luckily, I brought my ladder, and I had to climb up and go through all that stuff again. Clear out the trees, clear out the rocks, pick those freaking flowers on 3 levels now. I did all of that. I did all of it. And not once did I see a tarantula. I saw some water bugs, which was kind of dope because I think they were like $2,500 each. So cool, great, or $1,500. All right, fine. I kept going up these 3 levels on my ladder using the little stick to climb across. All of this stuff, no tarantulas, none. That's a scam. And granted, that's not the game's fault. That's a hack you found online that didn't work. But what? So, needless to say, I got frustrated and I just started fishing for things. I fished for things and I only found like one thing that was not on my island that I've never seen. I think it was like some kind of like char fish or something like that. And then it was just a bunch of tiger beetles and stuff that I have. Again, they're like worth a good amount of money, so it's fine, but nothing I couldn't get on my island. I got a few coconuts too, but my fiance had already got them from an island he was on. I saw one scorpion at one part, but I literally moved a little this way, and when I looked back, it was gone. So this whole traveling to other islands thing is pretty much a scam, because guess what? All you're getting that's different is fruit, if you're lucky, okay? And I know, maybe I wasn't on a tarantula island. He did mention that that was a thing. But I was personally salty because I just ended up doing all this work and fishing for all these fish that I could have just stayed at my own island for. Okay? Okay, great. Anyone else? No? Awesome. And lastly, the bonus tip, if you made it this way, congratulations, because you get a bonus tip. The bonus thing that I have a problem with in the delightful Animal Crossing New Horizons is the false sense of productivity it gives me. I can spend hours on this, chopping down trees, catching fish, paying off my debts, expanding my room, donating to the museum, and I feel like I've done so much. I've had a productive day. I am contributing to society. But all I did was sit on my butt eating trail mix while my butt actually goes numb and my fingers hurt because I've just been playing a video game. But it feels like I'm being a good human. But at the same time, I love it. And it's given us some normalcy that we can go out fishing and pay off some loans and wear cute clothing. So that's that. Those are my beefs, my scams, the things that bug me about Animal Crossing New Horizons. If you're related to any of these, tell me in the comments, because I need to rant about them too. I would love to know that there's other humans out there who feel like I do. And if you like this video, be sure to subscribe because it helps me a whole bunch.